Good morning, grade ones. I am here to show you our plants today. It is such a beautiful morning out. There's no wind, and I actually just watched a bird hunting for worms in my grass. He was pulling the worms out of the ground looking for food to eat. So it's a beautiful day to be with nature, and I hear a helicopter over. An airplane actually above me. So all sorts of sounds and sights out here today. But I wanted to show you our plants. Today is day 22 since we've planted our seeds, and you are not going to believe how much they have grown. I'm going to show you a quick glimpse here before we talk about them. Look at them all. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at our grass plant. And if you can see down in the bottom, look at all those tiny, tiny roots down there. They've got a good root system going. They're acting like anchors, and they've dug deep down into the soil, and the grass looks nice and green and tall and healthy. It needs a haircut, I think. But as you can see, look at how much thicker the grass has gotten in the last week. Last week when we checked, I think we had maybe 15 blades of grass. And, well, today we've got lots of grass in here. So it's getting thicker every day. It's getting longer. If I were to measure, let's see, our tallest one is about this. If I were to measure our tallest blade of grass here, I'm going to put my ruler right in. Our tallest blade of grass is 17 centimeters tall. So every day it's growing, it's getting bigger and thicker and stronger, and it's going to need a lawnmower pretty soon. Okay, the next plant that I want to show you is our lettuce plant. Now, look at the leaves of this lettuce plant. Look at how nice and big and green and soft they are getting. The roots down here, look at all those tiny roots down at the bottom of the cup. They are spreading out, grabbing all of those nutrients and water from the soil. And I would say if I really wanted to, I could cut off some of these leaves and I could actually eat them. But I think we'll give it a few more weeks so that they get nice and big, and then we would have a really full salad. Now remember, when we're talking about lettuce, the part of lettuce that we eat are actually the leaves. So all we have to do is just cut them off, wash them up, and we'd be able to eat them. Okay, the next one I want to show you. Take a look at this bean plant. Look at how long it is and how tall it is. I think we need to measure. Okay, I'm going to set it right here. And I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to go down in the bottom of the cup where the soil is. Whoa, you guys. It is 27 centimeters tall. And look at how big and green those leaves are at the top of this stem. They are reaching for the sun. The seed coat has totally fallen off now. I can actually see it. It's laying inside of the soil. Do you see it right there? It's fallen off, and pretty soon it's going to start growing some flowers, and then it's going to grow the bean pods. So we will keep a good eye on that. Now, this other little one here, it hasn't grown quite as tall or as fast as the big seed, but we'll still give it a chance because I think it will get up there. If you notice one thing about the bean plant, the stems are really nice and thick. I put a stick in the soil just to kind of help it stand tall, but it does not even need it because the stem is so thick that it's able to stand nice and tall and reach for the sun all on its own. So take a look at those leaves. Those are pretty awesome. Okay, the next one are radish plants. Now take a look at these radish plants. And boy, the stems in these radish plants are really getting thick. And the thing that's different about the radish plant stems and the lettuce stems, the stems on the lettuce plant are green, but the stems on the radish plant are actually red. And we know that the part of the radish that we eat is the root. It's the part that grows under the ground. So, and it is also red. So I don't think we have any formed quite yet. We do see lots of little hairs, little root hairs in the bottom of the soil reaching out for the nutrients in the water. But we're going to keep a close eye on this. Radishes usually take about 30 days, maybe even more, between 30 and 40 days to grow. So we'll keep watching, but the leaves look healthy, the stems look healthy. Oh, I see one leaf that I can take off that was a little soft, but it's looking good so far. Okay, my last plant here. Look at this pea plant. Can you see the whole thing? It's huge. And I actually had this plant in my windowsill. And if you can see this, these were not on here last week, but can you see these little tiny vines at the top of the lettuce, or of the pea plant? Right at the very top are these little vines, and they come out from the leaves. And the neat thing about these vines is they were grabbing onto the screen in my window to try and hold itself up, because the stem on the pea plant, it's pretty thick, but not quite thick and strong enough to hold it up on its own. So I actually had to tie it to a stick so that it didn't break. But I think we need to measure this one. I don't even know if my ruler is big enough to measure. Let's give it a try though. I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to put it. Yeah, my ruler is not even big enough. I'm going to guess. So it's past the 30 centimeter mark, which is the length of the ruler, and it's about 10 centimeters more. So I'm going to say that our pea plant is about 40 centimeters tall. Now you will see something a little bit different on the pea plant compared to the bean plant. On the bean plant, the leaves are only at the top, whereas the pea plant, we've got leaves all the way up the stem. And at the end of each leaf, we have some little vines that are growing. So pretty soon, we're going to have to keep a really close eye on it. There are going to be some pods form. You know what grows inside the pods? Those are the pea seeds, the part that we eat. Now, I also want to show you the roots on this one. If I flip my cup right over, look at how the roots have actually gone right to the very bottom of the cup, and they are pretty thick. This plant would do really well if I actually put it inside of a garden where there was more soil and more room for those roots to spread out. But for now, we're just going to keep an eye on it and see if we can grow some pea pods. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is my mini greenhouse. Now, my greenhouse, boy, it really grew. You can see the leaves are developed, the stem is developed, the roots are huge. I can even see the seed coats from the seeds that have fallen off. They're at the bottom of my greenhouse. Now, last week we talked about how plants need water, sunlight, they need nutrients from soil, which these ones aren't getting, and they need space. So these seeds have had two things. They've had water and they have had sunlight because I've put them in a bright sunny window. But they have not had air and they have not had nutrients from soil. And so you can kind of see that the leaves are starting to turn a browny yellow color. And you can see lots of condensation from the water inside the bag. And that means that these plants are not getting enough air. So they've had a good start, but I think my next step, and we'll see if they'll survive, is I'm going to plant them inside of some soil and where they will have lots of air too. I won't have them in a bag anymore. So we will see if they continue to grow, but I'm actually going to take them right out of this baggie. I think I might do that right now just to show you what it looks like. And they're really wet. I didn't have to water these at all. They're stuck together. Those roots have really wrapped onto these cotton pads here. Might have to cut them off, but take a look at that. Look at those roots. They're huge. So I'm going to plant them inside some soil. We'll see if they survive. They might not. And that's part of plants, right? Sometimes our plants do well, sometimes they don't. It just depends on their environment. But we'll give it a shot and we'll see if they continue to grow. So if you planted any plants at home, or maybe you made yourself your own little greenhouse, we would love to see them. So make sure you send them to us and we could share them on our Facebook page. All right, thanks for joining me today. Have an awesome day. It looks like a beautiful day ahead. See you later.